Hello and welcome to my channel, True Life Knowledge. This is a channel where we talk about the true knowledge of life, the knowledge that we need in life. So this time we're going to talk about charisma, and what other medium to talk about charisma is a book. So today we're going to talk about The Charisma Myth. It is a book written by Olivia Fox Cabane, and I have read the book, but today we're going to talk about what others have to say about this book. So, The Charisma Myth: How Anyone Can Master the Art and Science of Personal Magnetism. So, a fascinating look at how to improve our leadership skills and philosophy. This is said by Marisa Mayer, CEO of Yahoo. Okay, let's trust that. So, The Charisma Myth. What if charisma could be taught? Okay. The charisma myth is the idea that charisma is fundamental, inborn quality. You either have it, for example, Bill Clinton, Steve Jobs, Oprah, or you don't. But that's simply not true, as Olivia Fox Cabane reveals. Charismatic behaviors can be learned and perfected by anyone. Drawing on techniques she originally developed from Harvard and MIT, Cabane breaks charisma down into its components. Becoming more charismatic doesn't mean transforming your fundamental personality. It's about adopting a series of specific practices that fit in with the personality you already have. So the charisma myth shows you how to become more influential, more persuasive, and more inspiring. So it is a book and a title that inspires great hope for change. So change without having to change ourselves. So she makes a case that it is a skill that can be taught and learned, so we can learn. And let us see what can we learn. So editorial reviews. Review: the top book I've read all year. Okay. Olivia Fox Cabane offers hands-on advice and practical guide to humanizing leaders without compromising integrity or authority. She focused on the it factors that can make a real difference. Laura Link, Time Incorporated. Okay. Cabane has done us a big favor. She has woven solid science and engaging narrative into an instructive treatment of the role of charisma in leadership, a topic that until now we only poorly understood. So Robert Cialdini, the author of Influence, I have read his book as well, and it's a great author, and I can attest that the book Influence is good. So if he says that Cabane has done us a big favor, then probably it is true. Psychology Today. If you're interested in increasing your ability to be charismatic in your unique setting or employment, this book will give you direct skills to use. New York Journal of Books. The Charisma Myth is an easy read, effectively integrating stories and research, strategic and applications, techniques and practices. Okay, this does not tell us much. We can't all be charismatic as Alexander the Great or Madonna, but with Cabane's help we can sure get close. Okay, I'm not sure about that, but we can surely improve. Okay, it has a rating of 4.5 out of 5 stars. We have 607 customer reviews, and 72% of them are 5 stars, 15% are 4 stars, 7% are 3 stars, 3% 2 stars, and 3% 1 star. So let us look at what the 1 stars says. Okay, so we have see all 526 positive reviews, and we can see all 81 critical reviews. Let us read the first one. Okay, this is written by Brian Sharp. The best book of its kind I have ever read. He bought May 15, 2012, the Kindle edition, and it is a verified purchase. Okay. I read a lot of books in this genre. call it professional self-help. I have spoken professional a few times now about leadership and communication, and for my most recent one, just a few months ago, I did a ton of reading research, and a lot of it was books like this one. Most of them are mediocre. I began reading the Charisma Myth expecting more of the same. Frankly, platitudes, some common sense stuff, the kinds of advice that will only make sense to people who don't need it. I was just hoping for a tidbit or two that would be useful. I don't really gush. Okay, so the experience of Brian Sharp is the same as mine when I was researching this topic of charisma, because I love reading books. I think that books give us a lot of knowledge, and we can truly learn a lot of useful stuff from books. And most of the books that I've read about charisma, it was really bad. So the books that I read, I think that her book is the best, as far as I know. I don't really gush about things. If anything, I tend to be very demanding and therefore very critical. Like I said, I think most books in the genre are essentially useless. Okay, I oblige to Brian Sharp. The Charisma Myth is a truly phenomenal book. It's so good that I have recommended it to several of my colleagues, and it has already changed the way I manage my team and relate to my coworkers. In fact, my first gut reaction when I read it was, I guess I should stop speaking now, because everything I have wanted to talk about is covered in here. Here's the thing. Most of these kinds of books give you few things. Platitudes. So, useless, witty sayings. Yes, it is useless. Random anecdotes. So, stories that don't really offer any takeaway you can act on. Abstract imperatives, things like be a good listener. Yes, they tell you that you have to be a good listener, but nobody tells you how to be a good listener. So it is difficult. If you're not already a good listener, that's kind of like saying roast beef recipe. Get some beef and roast it. It's not helpful. It doesn't tell me what actual specific actions to take. Yes, Mr. Sharp is right. We have to get the specific actions that we need to take in order to be more charismatic. Here's what this book gave me. Okay, let us see what this book gave Mr. Sharp. So, it gave him extremely concrete specific actions. Every piece of advice about conduct or mindset is accompanied by direct actions to take when you're in conversation and find your mind drifting. Bring it back to a physical sensation in the present, like the feeling in your toes. That's just one example of many, but they are all things you can actually do, not abstract imperatives like be a better listener or pity but vapid stuff like smile more. Yes, I was thinking about this stuff, and I found myself that it is easier to listen when you make peace with yourself, and like Socrates says, I think it was Socrates, know thyself. And when you know thyself, it is much easier to listen, to ask good questions, and to listen to them. 2. Visualizations. I have never seen anyone push visualizations like Olivia does. She makes the compelling point that visualization is something top athletes and actors have known about forever. Yes, I've heard about that. In my talks, I have always felt slightly uncomfortable urging people to do visualizations, but not anymore. Not after reading this. She runs through a lot of specific visualizations, and they are immediately useful practices. Okay, I have actually read about her visualizations, and I don't remember exactly if they're good or not, but actually I have never tried them for a lot of time. Maybe it would be a great social experiment, for example, to try to do these exercises for 1 month and let us see. In the future, I'm planning to do a series about books, and I plan to read her book again and give you some of the best quotes and exercises to use without the maybe less useful stuff. So, like a concise plan of action. Taxonomies. Okay, I don't know what that is. Of the most useful business and management blogs I read, some of their most useful posts, I'm thinking of randinrepos.com, for example, are taxonomies. The 5 kinds of meeting attendees, the 4 kinds of firefighting, or whatever. These are helpful to me because enumerating a problem space as a handful distinct categories, they help me crystallize my own thinking about it. Olivia does this when she enumerates the 4 kinds of charisma. Look, I think I'm a good manager and leader, an empathic guy and good at my job. I'm not gonna lie, but I've never thought about it in this way. This was pretty eye-opening to me. I read this part and thought, oh yeah, I've got the focus and kindness charisma, but less of the authority, and definitely list of all the visionary charisma. And that gives me specific things to work on. Yes, if it gives him specific things to do and to work on, then it's good. And the way to understand why I'm better at motivating people in certain circumstances rather than others. To anyone who wants to be more charismatic, to be more successful at work, more able to positively influence those around them, more able to open up and make real connections with others, and just more able to lead a rich, happy life. And I know how this sounds. I swear I don't usually gush like this. This book tells you everything you need to know. Everything. No other book I have read does that. To be clear, that's like saying Ripeto's starting strength. Tells you everything you need to know to be a very good, extremely strong weightlifter. You still have to do a ton of really hard work. This book doesn't make you magically charismatic, but it gives you direct, specific applied practices that, if you do them, will make you more charismatic and enrich your life. Of all the pop, psychology, management, leadership, and professional self-help books I have read, I cannot say that about a single other one. I give this book my absolute highest recommendation. It's absolutely superb. I don't say that lightly. Great. Okay, let us see some of the comments. You had me at Repeto. Thank you. You sold me. I have great review and fantastic reference to Repeto at the end. Okay, so people are happy. Let us go back. Okay. Let us read this one. So, Amazon customer, verified purchase, he gave 2 stars, high on filler, lacks charm. Yes, I've noticed that a lot of it's logical because you cannot fill a book of I don't know how many books with only very useful stuff, but the stuff that is filler is usually meant for easier understanding and maybe easier remembering. So if I were the editor, I would rip into the length of this. There is a way too much filler. It's as if she needed about 100 more pages to meet her quota. This holds true throughout, at least, and the last 7th or so of the book is all recaps. Additionally, it was ironic to see that she recommends the magic of concision in ML composition. There are a couple tips that I find useful, but they could have been expressed in 3 to 4 pages, not 224. A blog post would cover this. I think this could be useful for quick skimmers and perhaps people with low EQ. So I think emotionally quotient, I don't know. Ultimately, it did not have enough warmth, concision, or charm for me. Okay, it's his. Okay, actually, she did have a quota. I know because she's my boss of 80,000 words. She happens to agree with you that more should have been cut out, but was contractually obliged. Okay, so we can understand her. I was actually listening to her speaking, and I loved her speech because she was warm. So it is interesting. Okay. So Amazon customer, don't waste your time. I have not yet read a worse example of the self-help genre. This gosh little book is filled with some of the most empty pseudoscience you will see, based on the some kind of garbage studies that have caused our replications crisis in behavioral psychology. If your aim is to be more cosmetic, you would be better off emulating Mark Zuckerberg's cyborg mannerism than taking any of this woman's lazy advice. Okay, so I guess it is funny. This March 27. Yes, it is funny. Okay, so let us conclude here. In the end, I would say that I would suggest you read this book. It is a good book, and I'm planning to do some research into this and actually try her visualization method, and at the end let me see. Okay, so excuse me for my English. I know that I'm not the best of the best. I'm trying to improve because I'm not a native speaker, and I hope you will be patient with me. So I hope you learned anything from this video, and in the future I plan to get much better. So thank you all for listening, and stay tuned for new content. Bye. Thank you.